Compass Mining is your trusted partner in Bitcoin mining. Whether you're investing in one machine or thousands, our customizable solutions are tailored to meet your needs. We are your experts in Bitcoin mining, offering a platform where individuals and businesses can purchase hardware, host machines, and access a range of ancillary Bitcoin mining services. We also specialize in large-scale site development and data center operations. Discover more at compassmining.io and see how we can power your success today.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, the official home of power mining analysis. Anthony and I are down in Las Vegas for the week, taking in the events, the sights, the sounds of Bitcoin Conference Las Vegas 2025. An absolutely phenomenal first day in the books. We're going to be going over that in today's video, along with some recent miner news and analysis before we head to day 2 of the conference. Before we get into it, take a second, hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe, and with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right, day 1 of the Bitcoin Conference 2025, Las Vegas in the books. Anthony, what a fantastic way to kick off the event. You and I got into town on Monday. We made our way to the convention center yesterday. Industry Day on Tuesday here, and an absolutely massive turnout. We can't wait to see what day 2 has in store.
Yeah, no, it's great to be part of yesterday. Got to meet a lot of clients, got to meet a lot of new friends, and people that we've seen on social media, got to meet them as well. So really good day, and day 2 looks like it's going to be even bigger day.
It certainly is. Now, for the astute viewers, you may notice the hair is a little off today, Anthony. The water's been shut off in my room here in Caesars Tower, so we'll see how that works out. But we're heading over. We've got JD Vance on the agenda. Doors opened at 5:30 a.m. today, so I don't know if we're going to be making that keynote speech. However, day 1 had some big names as well. Michael Saylor took the enterprise stage. We saw Vivek Ramaswamy, and also had Trump's son Eric speaking, which we were unable to catch, but a lot of big names in the industry. We made our way around to some of the booths here, Anthony. Just incredible to see the way this conference has grown. We've got the Gemini twins here with their Cybertrucks. LimeWire, which I haven't heard of that company in quite some time. They came out with their Rolls Royce. And as you can see in these photographs, the energy, the excitement in the convention hall here, just fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was great, and a fun day. We got there, early in the morning, and we stayed most of the day, and we went back to catch up with some friends in the evening. So, literally, a really fun day on day 1, and hopefully days 2 and 3 follow suit.
Most definitely. Now we've got some photos here, a few highlights. Had a great conversation with the team from Marathon. Got to meet Will Roberts. So the other half, the co-CEO, Dan's counterpart there, or brother as well. Fantastic dinner with IREN last night. Appreciate them putting that on for the social media influencers. So Bitcoin Bella, many of the analysts on X or Twitter that cover IREN were in attendance. Mike Alfred was also there. Another highlight for me, Anthony, stopping by the Bitfarms booth and able to take a virtual tour. You can see us suiting up with Ben here of their facility. Just incredible to see the technology that some of these companies are now starting to deploy.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting, and something unique, and to be honest with you, something that you'd expect Ben to have developed for the retail institutional investors to come in and have a view at this. And we managed to get to see the clip. And if you go down to the Bitfarms room today in the Venetian, you can access this. It's about 7 minutes long, but it gives you a really good view of what's happening at one of their data centers. And I think that the future looks bright for Bitfarms.
It definitely does. Riot's booth, they have a cool little drone exhibit as well. So definitely some innovative tech at the conference, to say the least. Now, in terms of the conference itself, there's been a number of big announcements just on day 1. So as you can see here from Fiat Archive, the New York mayor expected to make a big announcement on day 2. We had Bitmain come out with a sub 10 joules per terahash machine, the S23 Hydro miner, coming out now.
Yeah, I mean, it was announced yesterday, and actually, our good friends Hive were there to share that announcement at the Bitmain conference, which was running coincidentally on the same day as the first day of the Bitcoin conference 2025. This is due to come out in the first quarter of next year, and obviously, when you look at the efficiency of these machines now, 9.5 joules, that's just eclipsing the Bitdeer Seal Miner A3, which is coming out at about 9.7 joules a terahash. But bear in mind, in early 2026, Bitdeer are looking to bring out their A4, which is around about 5 joules a terahash. So looking forward to seeing this competition of the miners, and it's great for the space because there's a lot of cost and going into these machines, and the efficiency will drive down power costs. And at 9.5 joules, that will knock another, effectively a third off the power cost in terms of that efficiency compared to some of the latest machines that people are using at the moment, around about the sort of like 14, 15 joules a terahash.
Yeah, really incredible to see the rate or speed of development in the miners themselves. I remember just about a year and a half ago when we started this up, Anthony, 25 joules per terahash was kind of the benchmark. We've seen it go sub 20, now sub 10. And as you alluded to, the A4 looking in the 5 joules per terahash range. Now, another big announcement that came out during the conference this morning, actually, GameStop has entered the Bitcoin arena here with a major purchase, 4,710 Bitcoin. And surprisingly, Anthony, their stock trading down today.
Yeah, and bear in mind that the mining stocks are also down by a similar percentage, to be honest with you. So again, maybe the this acquisition of this Bitcoin and a significant amount of Bitcoin there, $500 million of Bitcoin going onto onto their balance sheet, and Bitcoin, hovering up, maybe 1% down this morning, but we know that, them stocks that are proxy to Bitcoin, the volatility tends to be a little bit more. So we're paying a little bit more attention to GameStop now, having that HODL and putting them in that sort of like in that first column of the HODL 15 list of public companies holding Bitcoin on the balance sheet.
Yeah, they certainly are. We've run into a number of those companies down here already. And of course, the MicroStrategy or strategy bulls are out in full force. Gladiator here, you can see hanging out at the conference. And obviously, a lot of excitement about that company and Michael Saylor's vision for the future of Bitcoin. Now, speaking of conferences, this one caught my attention as well. Core Scientific, we stopped by their booth yesterday in good form at the conference here, but they're now starting to branch out. Attending a tech, media, and telecom conference. So the press release itself is not necessarily huge news, but it is interesting to see these miners starting to branch out into more mainstream tech or traditional media style conferences.
Yeah, and that's what we expect. Core Scientific's business model is now moving clearly into data center co-location. They're the biggest client for CoreWeave at the moment. They're going to probably have about 50% of CoreWeave's business by the end of 2026. So at the moment, the revenues will start to come through from that contract, that massive contract, that over $10 billion contract over the next 12 years. Revenues start appearing in the accounts this month in May. And by the end of the year, Core Scientific are going to have about 250 megawatts of that 590 megawatts energized. So their run rate in terms of revenues in December this year for HPC will be around about $500 million and growing monthly as more and more power gets energized at their sites, delivering this for them. Now, I had a look at the market capitalization of these two companies yesterday, and CoreWeave IPO'd literally a few months ago, and yesterday the market capitalization of that company was $55 billion. Now, in contrast to that, you look at Core Scientific, who've effectively got a significant amount of their business that will be starting to be delivered, as we say, from now through to the next 12 years. Their market capitalization is a little over $3 billion. So there's certainly a mismatch there in terms of how the market perceives this. I hope once the revenues are seen in their next quarterly earnings, and just to see the amount of that coming through, we'll start getting some moon on CORZ Scientific, because at the moment the market doesn't seem to be giving them any of the sort of like respect in terms of multiples for HPC. We know that the Bitcoin mining industry, from a market standpoint, doesn't achieve great multiples, maybe 2 to 3 EBITDA. So it's not a great number there, but the HPC type of the business should be delivering maybe 15, 20, 25, even higher than that in terms of multiples. And we're not seeing that level from any of the miners that have contracts. So we know CORZ Scientific aren't the only miner with a contract. We have the likes of Bit Digital, IREN, Hive, also doing great. Hive, achieved $20 million annualized revenue in HPC. They're not getting the recognition. Look at their market capitalization. IREN also delivering a significant amount of HPC, looking to really expand that with Horizon 1 and then Sweetwater 1 and 2 as them sites progress to get developed. But Horizon 1 expected to be online this year. So the HPC, you can understand why CORZ Scientific has reached now into this more traditional market, now attending these conferences to get their name linked in the same sentences as some of these other big, hyperscalers.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point. I know we chatted with a few people yesterday about this observation, but interesting to see these re-ratings and the potential for these miners to move out of this Bitcoin mining category into a more traditional data center AI type of multiple, as you say, Anthony. And just to stress the point here, you guys, CoreWeave, as you said, nearly a $60 billion market cap, with CORZ Scientific delivering approximately half of their capacity by the end of the year. So very interesting, Anthony, that you make that observation and you start talking about that 2 to maybe a 20 multiple. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the valuation here. So great point there, and interesting to see when those revenues start to convert into maybe a share price move or re-rate for the company. Now, DMG, we also ran into Sheldon down here. They've got the majority of the leadership team. Actually, great to see him on site. They've got an update today on their systemic trust and this carbon neutral Bitcoin ecosystem that they're really creating at DMG Blockchain Solutions.
Yeah, and we've talked about this on the podcast. We had Sheldon and Steve last week on the podcast, and we mentioned this particular feature that they have at the company there, and the systemic trust company. This adds the sort of the ability to send Bitcoin in a regulatory compliant and carbon neutral manner. So this will appeal to a certain type of investor that wants to sort of see that green Bitcoin, move in such a way, and maybe it even, at some point in the future, gives them maybe a premium to having, green Bitcoin. Time will tell on that particular issue. But DMG do far more than Bitcoin mining, so they set this company up there. They've also got their TeraPool, which is the world's first carbon neutral Bitcoin mining pool, and they're doing many, many innovations. I mean, Sheldon has probably been in the space longer than all the CEOs and senior management teams that we've had on the podcast. He's probably out there as the OG, and so he's been very innovative with some of the things that they've come out with. Time will tell on the revenues coming through from some of these products, but we look forward to seeing them grow now. They've now reached market, and let's see in the next few quarters what the take with this is, and if there's a real market demand for it. So looking forward to catching up again with Sheldon next quarter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they start to monetize this and what type of premium, if any, they're able to achieve. More of an ESG type of focus here, but I know coming from Alberta, the oil and gas industry, this is definitely something a lot of these large blue chip type of companies want to be able to state that they're conducting business in a carbon neutral way and obviously not impacting the environment in a negative manner. So great to see Sheldon. Looking forward to getting an update on that one. The other event we attended last night, the Hive party, great to see Frank and Aiden in person. We had a great visit with them. They've come out with yet again another update, very transparent on their exahash deployment, now surpassing 10 exahash.
Yeah, and good update. I mean, we were talking with Aidan and Luke Rossi, the chief operating officer, obviously Frank, at the party there, and we know that their last update, they got over 9.5 exahash, and we knew that the 10 was imminent, and even then said it might be, the next few days. Well, we as soon as we left the party, the announcement came out. They've got over 10 exahash, so we're great to include that on today's podcast there. So operating at 10.2 exahash, they've got a target of 11.5 by the end of June. That looks well within their reach now, and a further target of 18 by the end of Q3, with an expansion towards 25 exahash by the end of the year. Now, the 18 exahash has all been fully paid for, and we've seen some of the movements in terms of the pledging of the Bitcoin to Bitmain at $87,000 per coin to buy these machines to get that 18 exahash. The good thing about that is for shareholders who think, oh, they've just sold 75% of their hodl. Well, they've pledged 75% of their hodl, and the opportunity for Hive is, should they wish to in the future, they have the ability to buy that Bitcoin back at $87,000 each. So even at today's price of 107, nearly 108,000, that's a $21,000 premium per coin. And, yes, the issue will be is obviously having the capital raised to actually buy the Bitcoin back. So that'll give them some time to think and do that. But it looks like a very positive move. It's not quite all fully sold and gone. It's pledged at the moment, and it gives them that option. In terms of, the HPC, they also included in their announcement, they'd reached the 20 million annualized revenue, which I've just mentioned there. And this achievement comes ahead of the June target, which was to get that. Now they have a next target to get to like 100 million of annualized revenue, and they're also ramping up their HPC by getting 5,000 cutting edge GPUs actively deployed. And this really gives the company, two different business models now to take forward. They're growing the Bitcoin mining, as shareholders waited long to see happening. That's a massive growth this year, probably around 6 at the start of the year, potentially 25 by the end of the year. So that's the sort of growth that we saw IREN and some of the other big miners achieve over the last few years. Hive are going to do it this year, looks very likely. It is a target. Let's see how they get on with that target there. But at the same time, developing this HPC business model to try and attract more revenues and more predictable revenues and incomes from that particular business model.
Yeah, so far so good for Hive. And we talked about this last year, Anthony. Companies were rewarded very well or punished extremely based on those targets being achieved or missed last year. And it appears Hive is well on their way to hitting those aggressive growth targets on both fronts, as you mentioned. So congrats to the team there. And again, appreciate the hospitality last night from both Hive and IREN. Now, in terms of the miners themselves, giving up some ground today. Yesterday was green across the board. However, we've fallen into the traditional Bitcoin conference struggle here, I guess. Bitcoin retreating today, the miners following suit. You can see red across the board here, including GameStop and MicroStrategy. First hour or so of trading right now.
Yeah, it's early trading, and we always have that volatility with the mining stocks. We're doing this particular podcast fairly early because we want to get across to the conference and enjoy the day there, meeting up with friends, with followers, with clients, and it looks to be a fun-packed day. And we've even got some fun-packed things to happen later on today as well. So looking forward to that. But the markets, this happened in Nashville as well when we were there. Had a bit of a red day, but we know that Bitcoin is this last few weeks has just shown the strength and staying in that in that range. Fully expect a further pull up in the next few days.
Yeah, and if you go into these conference halls, you look at the number of people, the energy, the excitement, the amount of companies that are represented, the sponsors. It's almost like fighting a tidal wave at this point. It seems Bitcoin is here to stay, and these temporary pullbacks, honestly, I look at as a great opportunity to continue to buy at any street you can here. So although we're seeing red on the daily chart here, Anthony, we've got a tweet out from Rex Finance showing CleanSpark in the green. So I wanted to get your comments on this one. Looking at CleanSpark compared to the rest of the pack here.
Yeah, so he's put out a tweet today. He's put this tweet out quite a lot lately, actually, and I responded to it, a few weeks ago, saying it's not a real accurate prediction of what the share price is on over a given number of dates. So we've also put out our own table today, power mining analysis, which shows the mining stocks, which shows the daily, the 5-day, the month, the year to date, and also a year. Let's look at a range of dates just to see how good each of the stocks have appeared over that period. And CleanSpark since the year to date had a decent run. It's down 5% today at the moment. 5-day change, it's down 7%. But a month change and year to date, it's doing okay. If you look at the year, though, let's go back a year ago, it's down 47%. And some of its peer miners like IREN are up 13, Bitdeer up 135, Core Scientific up 120 over the year. So the thing with this, when you bring out one metric on one particular date, it doesn't give the full picture of a company, and it's only one metric. So we like all the mining stocks and we like CleanSpark. We're both shareholders in CleanSpark, but give the actual analysis, the full benefit, so shareholders can see the full picture, and when we can get some good information, so shareholders can start doing their own due diligence from that point.
Yeah, it's a good point. We often talk about the fact you never want to look at one metric in isolation. And to that point, you also don't want to look at one snapshot in time in isolation. So nice to get the full view here, Anthony. And as you can see, vastly different performance based on which one of those time periods or durations you're looking at. So with that being said, you guys, we'll see how the miners shape up today in the remaining hours of trading. We're off to day 2 of the event. We've got JD Vance on the docket this morning, Anthony, and a number of headline speakers today. So we'll be back tomorrow morning with a day 2 update. We appreciate everyone tuning in, and thanks again to both Hive and IREN for the hospitality last night.